It's not good, Mark. This is Sun Valley's Warm Springs Lodge. Hard to believe that just 14 days ago, they were still skiing here at Sun Valley. But now they're living with the aftermath of one of the best winters on record. The recent warm temperatures combined with the above average snowpack resulting in significant spring runoff and now this flooding.
Hey guys, you gotta leave this area. You gotta leave this area. Now.
We started off our tour with Hailey Fire Chief Craig Aberback. He took us behind the roadblocks and into the Delaview neighborhood nestled along the Big Wood River. Flooding started here early Saturday morning around 2:30. 30 homes voluntarily evacuated.
Power's out for about 30 homes in this area.
He took us as far as we could go safely in his truck on War Eagle Road.
I can't go any further than this because it's a lot worse further ahead.
We saw more flooded homes, some protected with sandbags. And then we came to a stop at Heagle Park.
We were expecting a high of about 8 foot, and right now it's about 7.75 foot, so it's pretty significant. It's almost at the major flood level.
We found more homeowners trying to protect their homes, some pumping out water with gas-powered generators. This woman stands at her door just watching and waiting. Next, we go farther north into Ketchum and into another neighborhood along the Big Wood River.
I live right here at 581 Wood River Drive.
What's your house like? What's going on?
Well, it's now 581 Wood River.
His house safe now, but others not so fortunate, some trying to make the best of it. Ketchum Fire Chief Mike Ellie then shows us Sun Valley's Warm Spring Lodge, where sandbags protect the lodge. Water overflowing the Warm Springs Creek, coming up and under the Challenger chairlift. Water peaked here around noon on Sunday. Ellie then takes us up the road from Warm Springs Lodge to Lower Broad Ranch area.
Warm Springs Creek came up significantly the last 2 days, and many of the houses out here are now islands.
Warm Springs Creek now looks like a river. Homeowners and volunteers doing what they can to protect their property.
I think this is just a taster of what's to come. It'll be cool and stabilized for a while, and then we're going to get a much bigger rush. The longer the snow stays up there, the bigger the rush will be later on.
A sign of what's to come. And another problem that we're hearing about, Mark, downed trees. The ground is saturated. Hailey Fire Chief telling us that they have had 8 reports of trees toppling over onto houses and cars, but fortunately no injuries. With the epic winter in Blaine County, residents were expecting high spring runoff, just not this bad.
It definitely gave me more of an understanding for people like through Katrina and such, where you think, no, it can't get any worse. No, it can't get any worse.
Elisa Ludwig and her partner started protecting their home in Lower Board off Warm Springs Road on Friday. They put up small bladders around the house that stopped the water from reaching it.
And my fear was right behind the camera was coming down from walls. I thought if that water breaks there, it'll come straight into the cabin.
And that's what happened?
And that's what happened, yeah.
The water from Warm Springs Creek now up to almost the first step of their home. Where are the bladders now?
They're floating.
Lexi DuPont lives next door.
I kind of feel helpless because you can put sandbags up, but they wash away pretty quickly.
Meanwhile, in Hailey, the sandbagging continues.
I've got the time, got the energy. So doing a little give back.
We estimate there have been in excess of 2,000 sandbags prepared just by volunteer community work. It's been amazing.
We're helping out as much as we can, and plus it's fun too.
The Big Wood River peaked overnight in Hailey at 2:15 a.m. at 7.82 feet. By 9 a.m. Monday, it was down to 7.56 feet.
7 feet were what's called moderate flooding. When we hit 8 feet, we are in the extreme flooding. But the models, again, we're not sure. They were originally predicting for it to even go back down to 6, but we're not confident in that now. We are anticipating in the next 3 weeks, folks are going to be living with this kind of water. It may go up and down as temperatures go up and down. And typically, this is what the forecasters tell us, we will expect the really big peak, which we've not yet seen, to come about that last week in May, first week in June. And that's when all the snow that made for such great skiing this last winter will be melting. And you've seen all the snow that's still up there.
There is no damage to the lodge, and the Sun Valley Company has put up this wall of sandbags to protect it. But farther up Warm Springs Road is the lower board area, and it's a different story there. Water making these homes look like islands. Homeowners started protecting their houses Friday, and most have voluntarily evacuated.
Did you know this was coming, given
Yes.
the winter that you all had?
Yes, actually my partner and a few other people predicted, yes, this is going to get really bad.
But is it what you, I mean, you knew it was predicted to get bad, but when you see this?
It's worse than I thought.
Meanwhile, the swollen Bigwood River is flooding parts of Ketchum and here in Hailey, where the sandbagging continues. Volunteers filling more than 2,000 bags of sand since the weekend.
Last night it crested at 2:15 a.m. I believe it was at 7.82 feet, so just under the 8-foot record. And how we look at flooding, so at 6 feet we're in flood stage. At, when it hits 7 feet, we're where it's called moderate flooding. When we hit 8 feet, we are in the extreme flooding scenario.
The Delaview subdivision is receiving the most flooding in Hailey. 3 other neighborhoods have minimal flooding.
Let's just show you part of the problem. This is Warm Springs Creek behind me. All the snow melt, all the water coming up and over the banks. Downstream is the Sun Valley's Warm Springs Lodge. This area is just right off of Warm Springs Road. You can see all of this water coming up and over. The road is supposed to be going right through here, but it's washed out. Neighbors have since voluntarily left the area. Before waters got this high, they made this kind of makeshift rope to help guide them up and over the water.
The homeowners began protecting their homes Friday and watched as the water got higher and higher. Their homes now look like islands, access becoming more difficult. Meanwhile, the swollen Bigwood River continues to overflow its banks in parts of Ketchum and Hailey. Volunteers met up this morning in the Delaview subdivision for more sandbagging. They filled more than 2,000 bags since the weekend. The Bigwood River in Hailey has dropped today since it peaked this morning at 2:15 at 7.82 feet. It's down to about 7.17 feet as of 5 o'clock tonight. But the threat is not over. In fact, it's only going to continue.
7 feet were where it's called moderate flooding. When we hit 8 feet, we are in the extreme flooding. But the models, again, we're not sure. They were originally predicting for it to even go back down to 6, but we're not confident in that now. We are anticipating the next 3 weeks, folks are going to be living with this kind of water.
Blaine County is calling this an extended incident, saying that this is not going away in the next 24 hours. They expect waters will rise and fall ever so slightly, but they're going to be this high over the next 2 to 3 weeks. They expect the waters will peak the last week of May to the first week of June. In Blaine County, I'm Kim Fields, Idaho's News Channel 7.
The record snowfall this winter dumped 337 inches of snow on Sun Valley's Bald Mountain. All that snow now melting and flooding the Bigwood River.
The way we should be thinking about this is an extended incident, and that's the term we use. It's not just a 24-hour blip on the radar. This is extended incident.
Blaine County emergency officials warning residents to expect high waters until the snow is gone.
We are anticipating the next 3 weeks, folks are going to be living with this kind of water. It may go up and down as temperatures go up and down.
The overflowing Warm Springs Creek in Ketchum is already proving too much for these homeowners in the lower board area off Warm Springs Road.
It's worse than I thought.
Elisa Ludwig and her partner started protecting their home Friday, but the water's too powerful.
And my fear was right behind the camera was coming down from walls. I thought if that water breaks there, it'll come straight into the cabin.
And that's what happened?
And that's what happened, yeah.
Ludwig's neighbor says watching the water is an awful feeling.
You kind of feel helpless because you can put sandbags up, but they wash away pretty quickly.
In the meantime, neighbors helping neighbors, filling more than 2,000 sandbags since the weekend.
I've got the time, got the energy, so doing a little give back.
Hoping for no more rain and cooler temperatures to make for a slower snow melt.
We will expect the really big peak, which we've not yet seen, to come about that last week in May, first week in June. And that's when all the snow that made for such great skiing this last winter will be melting.